Mike?
Hi, Coach. Just kind of what was your post-game now reflection of Taven Jackson, and why do you think it's kind of been different? You know, whether Taven at home and Taven on the road seems like a much different performance.
So far this year, I don't think it's unique to one person. We haven't played as well on the road as we played at home. Saturday was a bit of an enigma to me because I thought we were the most ready we were to play a game that we were all year, and that didn't show up on the field. So we've been talking a lot about why that might be. But my message to the team is sometimes in life things don't go the way you want them to, and you can sit and dwell on it and be mopey, or you can turn the page. And I think in some ways it's good we have a short week this week because we got to turn the page fast and just try to get back to where we were and play well Friday.
Scott, that was going to be kind of my question is, what are the challenges of preparing in a short week following a game like the one you guys had on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, we're not alone in that. Half the teams in the country weren't happy with how last Saturday went. You know, the team we're playing wasn't happy with how last Saturday went. So the next week, it's about how fast you bounce back and just refocus on the next objective.
Coach, after the game, favorite coach Aranda, said he met with you before the game. You guys kind of talked about how you guys prepare for each other. He said that you kind of run a game plan outfit, going or attacking their weaknesses. What do you make of that comment? And what kind of approaches do you have when it comes to facing another Big 12 team?
Yeah, I'd say two things about that. One, I think they did a really good job. I give them a ton of credit because obviously they expected that, and I think they made some changes going into our game that led to some of the things we game planned for not being as good. So I give him a ton of credit for that. The second thing, you know, with a bye week, I think the one mistake I probably made is we probably put a little too much of that in, and I don't think our team's quite ready to handle that amount of scheme. And we can run it. It's just if the look's a little different, if things change over the course of the game, then we can't adjust to it on the fly. So we have to be a little more mindful about what we have in. And make sure our guys are capable of doing it.
When you say this game was an enigma and that you thought you were prepared, do you approach it differently then going into this week? Do you do something different as a coaching staff?
No, one thing I've learned, man, over time in coaching, if you're doing things right, you don't panic. Everybody has a little different way to approach games and try to get their guys ready. We started pretty fast for the most part this year. It wasn't a preparation error. We're going to continue to work as hard as we can to get the guys ready and never panic. I know the trajectory that we're on, where this is going. I'm impatient to get it there, but changing midstream isn't the answer.
Coach, if my memory serves, you talked about needing to get big plays before. Jaden Nixon has done that when he's gotten the ball, getting I think like 3 touches in the last game. Just what was your thought process on who was getting carries in the game? Could we see Nixon more with the need for big plays?
Yeah, I'm kind of, to be honest, busy being the head coach and calling plays. I let my assistants handle the rotations, and we talk about the rotations before the game. But then, you know, it's gonna be impossible for me to sub in and out at every position. You know, the game didn't go how we wanted it to. You know, we wanted to hit them with some of the things that we had designed for them, and try to be in a good spot or be ahead in the game, and then lean on the run game, and we never got to that. That probably led to not getting near as many carries as we would have liked to for Miles and Jaden. But I know those guys are ready. I got a lot of trust in them. They're 2 of our better players and most trustworthy players, and we're going to use them as much as we can.
What would you say about the evolution of the space game and space week and what it means to UCF, having been a part of it in the past and seeing it from afar, and now being back in charge?
Yeah, I got to be honest. I didn't know I coached in a space game. I knew our uniforms were different, but I don't think it was a big deal back then. So it's kind of cool that we were part of the first one. I kind of like the life that it's taken on. I got some new gear today, so that was cool. Hopefully the players get some new stuff, and I think it's always neat to have a throwback or an alternate, and this one actually has some meaning behind it because of where the universities come from and the rise that the universities has in its roots. So I think it's a neat deal for our institution.
Coach, sort of a follow-up on that. Were you ever into space when you were a kid and you ever want to be an astronaut? And also, what do you think the space industry has meant to this country?
That's a big question. No, I was never the little kid that wanted to be an astronaut. I was too into hunting and fishing and sports. So I had pictures of, Walter Payton and Michael Jordan and Mike Singletary on my wall, and pictures of big bighorn sheep and big bull elk on my wall because my dad liked that. I know a lot of kids want to be an astronaut. I just think our proximity to NASA and a lot of things that have happened, and our tie from the university to that is really cool. And it's good that the football team can be a part of that and support that. And I think it gives us a kind of a secondary identity, alter ego, that I think some fans are probably in favor of and some aren't, but it's a good thing for our school.
Coach, you mentioned how Houston wasn't happy with their result against West Virginia. How do you keep your team from focusing on that result against a team in West Virginia that you guys beat not 2 weeks ago?
Well, I give West Virginia credit watching the tape. First of all, the game, watching their game, Houston turned it over 4 times, which they hadn't been doing all year, and that was a huge part of it. West Virginia played a lot more physical than they had, I think, leading up to our game, and they looked like a different team on tape playing Houston. So I give them credit. Houston's a physical team, and we have to be able to match that. When you watch Houston's tape, what stands out is how hard they play. We need to make sure that they don't outplay us, then we'll have a good game.
Coach, Saturday obviously didn't go the way you wanted it to, but just from a leadership standpoint, guys in the room, how did they bounce back? How have they adjusted and moved forward?
I felt like we were fighting against it. There was a little bit of a hangover today, but we need to move on from that fast. We actually had a walkthrough last night and a shorter practice today. We got to get our work done tomorrow. There's no time to sit and sulk and lick your wounds. We got to play in 4 days here, so it's time to move on. And like I said, my message to guys, it's not just football, it's life. You're cruising along and everything's going well. And sometimes bad things happen you don't expect. You have a bad experience you don't expect. You just got to shake it off and step up, and that's what our team has to do.
You say with a bye week, you put maybe a little bit too much on their plate, too much scheme in. At what point do you hope you will be able to do this in this rebuild process?
I think that's just an experience thing more than anything. If we have a core of guys back last year that already know the scheme, then I think you can be a little more creative. And we have been at times. We just have to watch the volume of that, I think, right now.
Scott, you guys have struggled a little bit on third downs this season, especially on Saturday. What do you guys need to do maybe to get over that hump and maybe be able to convert those and have opportunities to extend some of those drives?
Well, the third and shorts have been, an issue that's crept up a few times, and that's just pad level and force of will, to be honest with you. The rest of the third downs, we just have to do everything a little better. We have to protect a little better and keep them clean. We have to win on sticky coverage routes a little better. We got to make a little quicker decision and quicker throw. And third downs are a lot of man coverage and mono situations, and we need to win more.
This team has struggled on the road to begin the season. What do you think are some of those challenges that they're facing that you guys have just been having a hard time to overcome?
Well, I'm not worried about the road right now. I'll worry about that again next week. But I think that just goes along with growth of a team. And we have played well at home for the most part. So that's where my focus is right now, is trying to do that in there.
Baylor talked about putting an emphasis on starting fast, and they did offensively. What did you see from your defense on their first couple of drives?
I thought the defense played pretty well overall. The stats maybe didn't bear that out. They converted a 3rd and 11 and a 3rd and 8 on the first drive, another 3rd and 7 or 8 on the second drive, and then we had a pick in our hands on the second drive. Any one of those plays probably changes the start of the game. Once we got down 14-0 on the road, right, that's a little bit of a tough hill to climb. We could have done it, but that's not how you want to start on the road. So we had our chances to get off the field on those first 2 drives, and we didn't. We talk about turnover ratio all the time, and we've been negative turnover ratio in every road game. That's got to change if you're going to go on the road and win. After that, I thought they played pretty well, holding them to field goals. Didn't really give up that last touchdown until we threw a pick that got them way down there. So our defense fought and battled, you're not going to win many games if you don't score touchdowns.
You mentioned Houston turning the ball over 4 times. What more do you need to see your defense do to create turnovers?
I think as a player, because I've been there, you spend a lot of your time when you're not 100% confident and sure of yourself, just making sure you don't get beat. Just make sure you are where you're supposed to be. Make sure you get the tackle. Make sure you don't get beat in coverage. Once you have a confidence and you kind of turn the page, then you're doing your job and you're looking for an opportunity to strip a ball, to make a pick. We got some guys there, but we need more guys that are kind of turning that page and getting over that hump and looking for the special plays.
Coach, you have another quarterback on the other team for Cooper Wakeman there. West Virginia was able to stop him on the run last Saturday. You also mentioned the turnover. You mentioned the turnovers as well. Just have you got a chance to look at the tape on him yet, and what do you think this defense needs to do?
I haven't watched last week's game yet. I've been focusing on the other side of the ball, to be honest. I have seen him play on tape. Been really impressed mostly with his toughness and leadership, and seemed like everything went through him. So I haven't watched the West Virginia game yet, but I know we got a tough competitive quarterback coming in.
Houston, Cincinnati, BYU all joined the league at the same time as UCF, but they've been challenging at the top of the league standings this year. What sort of commonalities do you see in those two situations, having scouted and played in Cincinnati and now scouting Houston? And how do you feel like maybe that lends a template to what year 2 can look like in your coaching regime?
Yep, like I've said all year, it's a matter of just continuing to improve. I think our guys have done that. You're going to have sometimes 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and I think we had that Saturday, but there's no doubt we've gotten better. We can't let that stop to the end of this year. Regardless of results right now, we have to keep improving. This league has enough parity in it that if anybody just gets marginally better, you're going to have a chance to make that jump and be in the middle or top of the standings in this league. We're not that far away, but we're miles away, and at the same time, and that's the gap that we got to make up just by continuing to grind and improve.
Coach, you talked about how well the defense played despite what the stats may say. How do you keep Houston from getting off to a hot start like Baylor did, so you don't have to play catch up from there?
I mean, we just got to play well early. And like I said, the defense I thought made some good plays. Credit Baylor again. They made some outstanding catches, some one-on-one wins, broke some tackles, and scored the first time. And we went three and out on offense, and they scored again, and we had a chance to get off the field on that one. It all kind of goes back to when you have your chance to make a play, or you have a team in a 3rd and long, or you have an interception in your hands, or a block in front of you, you got to go get it done. And we didn't do enough of that, especially early Saturday.
You talked a little bit about it throughout this press conference about the need to continue to get better. How do you feel like your team has room in that department, and how do you feel like, there's been a few losses, but how do you feel like they've responded to losses throughout the years as part of that growth process?
Well, if I had a team that wasn't disappointed when they lost, then I got the wrong guys. I want guys to be pissed when we lose. But I want guys to understand that when that happens, there's only one alternative, only one choice, and that's just to go back to work and work harder and get a little bit better. And a little bit better would have given us a lot different record this year. So again, it isn't mountains of things we need to change. We just got to be a little better across the board.
There's been some issues with delay of game penalties at times. Is that the communication process, getting the play in sometimes? What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, it's on the road. We've talked about that too. The communication doesn't seem to be as big an issue at home. It's been happening on road games, and we talked about that a lot.
Is it helmet comms? I know it's not an excuse. Baylor seemed to blast stuff from their end zone speakers right until the play starts.
We had music coming from one side and trumpets blaring from the other side. I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not, but even if it did, we have to be prepared for that, and we need to be better, coaching staff and players.
Scott, the overall health of the team. I mean, Taven's back. Taven was back, but when you look at the quarterback position, how strong is that room right now? And is there anyone that's maybe not going to be able to make this weekend's game?
We're still dealing with a lot of stuff. It's tough to look over on the side during practice and see a lot of the guys that would be helping us that aren't up and doing it right now. That's football. Some years you have real clean years, and other years you don't. I'm really happy that we have the guys still healthy that we do, and quarterback's been one of those positions. Taven's good to go. Davi's good to go. The other two have kind of been day by day. I don't think Cam will be ready this week.
Okay.
All right, thanks
Appreciate
everyone.
it. Thanks, Coach. Thoughts on the